So this summit here today, with all levels of government, all the police forces, and the different agencies, is a turning point, I would say, in tackling the extortion crisis. Why do you think today was so important?
This was important. The first thing first is I, along with the other Surrey MP, we raised this with the Prime Minister, and myself and Nadeep, and we made it very clear that all three orders of the government and the police forces, they have to come together and get on the same platform and have this thing resolved. And Prime Minister took a leadership, and he is the one who took the leadership and asked for this summit to happen. And today, when we look at this, actually, it was a very positive. Look at the way Premier, federal government, local governments, and the police force. We have all come together to find a solution and making sure if there are gaps, we should fill in those gaps.
Yeah. Public safety is not a political issue, but I feel recently it's becoming a political football. So for me, the question I have to ask of you directly is, what is your government doing to make sure that they get enough votes to pass the legislation that will give police access to people's phone, IPS addresses, searching packages, and for money laundering, so that we are not waiting 6 months, because with today's technology, those phones are being changed almost on a weekly basis.
And you are absolutely right, Ginny. We have that legislation which under C2, and then we have a legislation C12, and of course bail reform C14. They all can be passed in one day, and there should be no politics. In fact, it's one party that's stalling is the Conservative Party right now. The Conservative leader, I'm not playing politics. You go and tell Conservative leader to support those three legislation, they will be through, because we are a minority situation. We are not a majority government, and all we need is a support of one other party, and major party that's claiming its territory on crime is the one that's delaying it. The reason is basically they are playing politics, because the politics they are playing is if they get these legislation through, then they have no agenda left.
Well, as you know, recently a lot of the agenda is being taken over from the right by your government. And I do want you to work cooperatively to make sure this bill passes, and I know you will, across party lines. But my final question to you is this, Sukh. What is a direct message you want to give to the victims today?
The direct message to the victims is that federal government, Prime Minister himself, and all of us as a Liberal government are committed. Their safety and security is a responsibility and a duty of ours. It is not a priority. It is a duty, and we take this very seriously. And I want to assure those victims and your viewers that we are on this file, Prime Minister is on this file, and we will make sure that we get everything done to make Canadians safe in their homes, workplaces, and their religious places.
So in Surrey now, we've had additional policing, as we heard today, more policing now than ever in Surrey's history. Secondly, there is more money from the province and the feds for victim protection and to make sure victims get their services. There is also $4 million that is being allocated to make sure that the gangs are taken on, because the gangs who are doing the drugs are also the ones involved in extortion. And also there is a $250 million fund, out of which different municipalities are getting money to focus on prevention programs. So Sukh, I want to thank you. Thank you for your advocacy, all of the local MPs, for making sure that this summit took place and this issue is being treated like a Canadian problem.
It is a Canadian problem. Ginny, thank you for doing great work. And you are one who's in fact advocating all this, and then we take it to Ottawa. In fact, knowledge is power. Our knowledge comes from people like yourself who are very constructive and willing to make a difference in people's lives. So keep on doing that.
Thank you, Sukh.